Star Wars fans, at the end of the finale of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, after the rematch of the century, after the great cameo from Papa Palps, and after the return of Liam Neeson to the role of Qui-Gon Jinn, we were left with one question. What happens to Reva after this show? What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars here. Today we're talking about Reva and the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I know, Reva's not many fans' favorite character, so don't click away just yet. Because by the end of this video, you might actually be looking forward to seeing Reva again. So at the end of the finale of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, she is alive. She survives the entire Obi-Wan Kenobi show and is there on Tatooine at the Lars homestead with Obi-Wan. So where does she go from there? It's the biggest question I've seen in everybody's comment section for the last 6 months. Everybody wants to know what's going on with Reva. And yes, that is a joke, but they put a lot into this Reva character and Disney is not going to let her go this quickly. She's going to be involved in some other Star Wars project somewhere along the line. Now, of course, we know she's not in Star Wars Rebels. We know she's not in the Andor show. We know she's not in Rogue One. We know she's not in the original trilogy. But what if I told you that we've seen Reva many times in everybody's favorite Star Wars show, The Mandalorian? And not only that, Reva is everybody's favorite Star Wars character in Grogu. Now this would explain how Grogu was trained at the Jedi Temple and had 0 appearances up until The Mandalorian. Okay, but in all seriousness, Reva isn't in anything before or after the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, so where are they going to put her? Not to mention the fact she was stabbed as a youngling during Order 66 by Anakin Skywalker in the stomach, and then many years later she gets stabbed in the stomach by Darth Vader himself as an older woman. So if she can survive 2 lightsaber blows to the stomach by the Chosen One, how is her story actually going to end? Now there is one very prominent fan theory out there about the character of Reva and where she goes from here and how she's actually still alive in the Star Wars canon. She survives all throughout the original trilogy and is actually in the Book of Boba Fett. Now this fan theory says that she actually never left the sands of Tatooine at the end of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, became a Tusken Raider, and is actually in the Book of Boba Fett as the warrior Tusken Raider in the flashback sequences that Boba actually trains with. And that warrior Tusken Raider that people believe to be Reva is actually not seen in the pile of dead bodies when Boba goes back to the Tusken Raiders camp and they are all dead. She's actually one of the only Tusken Raiders that isn't there in the pile of dead bodies. So not only does this fan theory mean that she stayed on Tatooine, became a Tusken Raider, and actually trained with Boba Fett, it also means that Reva is still alive to this day in Star Wars canon. Now, I'm not the biggest advocate for that fan theory. I honestly think it's way too far-fetched, and why would Reva stay on Tatooine and become a Tusken Raider? It makes no sense to her storyline. And with the whole warrior Tusken Raider thing that wasn't among the dead bodies in the Book of Boba Fett, I honestly doubt that that will ever be built upon anymore. I think it might have honestly just been a mistake that she wasn't among the dead bodies. But like I said before, if Reva is actually dead before the original trilogy, it has to be some meaningful death because, again, she's already been stabbed twice in the stomach by the Chosen One, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker himself. So if she were to appear before the original trilogy, but after the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, it would have to be in one of 2 projects. The first one being the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order called Jedi Survivors. Now this game actually comes out in March of next year, so we will be getting the answer on whether or not Reva is in that game very soon. Now Reva joining forces with Cal Kestis, or dying to Cal Kestis, or dying for Cal Kestis might actually draw some fans to the character because many Star Wars fans are very fond of the character of Cal Kestis. And honestly, I think Lucasfilm's best bet is to throw Reva in the Jedi Survivor game and see how fans actually respond to that. And the only other place that Reva could appear before the original trilogy would be Andor Season 2. And the way that Andor Season 1 went, I seriously doubt we'll see Reva in Andor Season 2. Now there is always the off chance that Reva went into hiding or was just somewhere else in the galaxy while all the events of the original trilogy were panning out, then comes back into the scope of things during the Mandalorian timeline. Will we possibly see Reva in the Mandalorian Season 3, or the Ahsoka show, or the Skeleton Crew show? Honestly, I think it would anger a lot of fans. More fans seem to dislike Reva than like Reva. So to answer the question, what happens to Reva after the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I honestly have to tell you that I don't know. We will see. We will have to see, because they can't just not go to the character ever again after what they did to her in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. They built up this brand new character in that show around Obi-Wan and around Darth Vader, two of the main characters of Star Wars. They can't just have that character disappear for the rest of time. We have to see how Reva's story ends. But like I said, she's going to have to die in a spectacular way after already being stabbed twice in the stomach by Darth Vader. She really should have just died. 1000% I think she should have just died when Vader stabs her in the stomach for the second time in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I mean, her character arc was full circle. She helped save Obi-Wan while trying to get her revenge on Vader and failed. But what do you think about the character of Reva? Tell me in the comments below. Where do you think we might see Reva again in the Star Wars canon? Could it possibly be Jedi Fallen Order's sequel, Jedi Survivors? Could it possibly be the Andor show, Season 2? Or do you actually think that she could have disappeared throughout the original trilogy and show up in the Mandalorian timeline? Or, and I'm sure this will be the most popular comment in the comment sections below, do you never want to see Reva ever again? Tell me in the comments, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and my pretty face will show up in the recommended feed of yours. Is Reva done for good, or will we be seeing her next year in one of these projects, whether it be a video game or a show? Tell me in the comments, don't forget to hit that subscribe, and may the Force be with you. Always.